Well, folks, we knew this day would come. Back in February of 2010, I started a Sonic series that is still ongoing, but it all began with classic Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis. My Sonic playthroughs have finally passed the old style of Sonic that introduced us to the character. Sonic is now getting older, he's losing his pot belly, his spines are extending, his eyes turning greener. Dr. Eggman's gonna be wearing a fancy new jacket, and Amy Rose will look like she belongs in the swinging 60s.
Yeah, baby!
Oh, and Fang the Sniper will disappear off the face of the planet. Sorry, Fang. So before we move on, I should acknowledge the other classic Sonic games that I didn't give time to look at. One was Sonic Spinball for the Sega Game Gear. The game does have different bosses and music, and for some reason they changed the cover to have Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik in the Eggmobile. Why? I have no idea. I have a confession to make. I can't sit through this game for more than 10 minutes. It's that bad. The music is dull, and this is by far the most quiet Game Gear Sonic game ever. For whatever reason, it's just dark and dull and bland and slow, and the game is a major piece of crap. I hate it. Play Sonic Spinball on Genesis, but don't even bother with the Game Gear version. So there was an arcade Sonic game that was actually released around 1993. It's called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. Dr. Eggman kidnaps Sonic and new characters Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel and places them in Eggman Island where they need to run from all kinds of traps and escape. Mighty and Ray look exactly like Sonic because they were two possible ideas that Sega came up with when first creating their main character. They eventually went with Sonic, but Mighty and Ray survived to be in this game. And Mighty went on to Knuckles Chaotix, as you know. Anyway, the reason I never played this is because it's an arcade game, which I've never played. And this isn't in any other compilation collection like Sonic the Fighters was. I have no experience with it, nor do I have access to it. But I would definitely recommend looking this game up on YouTube. The animation is fantastic. Seriously, this is a really fun ride to watch, even if you're not playing. Though it has an isometric viewpoint a la Sonic 3D Blast, at least you aren't saving flickies. And it's co-op, so you can play it with a friend, too. Looks amazing, you need to look it up, but again, I can't play it and commentate, so that's why I never did it. As for the other games, yeah, I know about Tails Music Maker. Yes, I know about Sonic Eraser. These games are spin-off games with no depth. And they don't matter to me because I never played them. Hell, you never played them. If I missed a game, it's because I don't know about it or I just don't care to play it. I'm ending the classic Sonic games here and now, and will be strictly doing the modern Sonic games from now on. And yes, I know that as I make this video, Sonic Generations is coming out. A game that uses a time travel storyline where the Sonic of today meets up with the Sonic of old, bringing back 2D gameplay while keeping the series fresh and alive. I have no idea what the game will be like, nor do I know if classic Sonic will stay for more games to come. It's a 20th anniversary game, so I'm not holding my breath. Either way, I know about Generations, and I won't be doing a playthrough of that game for a long time. So yeah. You're going to be waiting a while for that one. The point is, we're moving on to Sonic Adventure, a game that completely changed the series in not only the art design, but also from a gameplay standpoint. As such, this has divided the fanbase apart. And believe me, the Sonic fanbase is a vocal bunch that will let you know when it's unsatisfied with their product. Many fans of Sonic grew up with the Sega Genesis classics, as I did, and loved them to death. Hell, I remember being in grade 1 and 2 when I was a wee lad, discussing the ever-popular argument of who was better with people, Sonic or Knuckles. I mean, the old games are a part of gaming history. There's a reason we compare Sonic to that gaming icon we call Super Mario. Sonic's music was amazing, the gameplay rich, and if you owned a Sega Genesis, you probably loved the blue blur. When every series moves to 3D, there's understandably going to be people who don't like the change. I have friends who absolutely loved New Super Mario Bros. Wii because it brought the series back to its roots. They couldn't handle the exploration and star hunting that came with the territory of Super Mario 64. What was a simple game of move to the right and reach the goal line has become a deep experience with multiple pathways and a different gameplay style. The same thing kinda happened with Sonic Adventure. With stuff like cutscenes, treasure hunting, fishing minigames, and city hubs that lent itself to exploration, many Sonic fans were torn from the gameplay. That, or they grew up and stopped playing video games, or they decided to buy a Nintendo 64 instead of buying a Dreamcast. Whatever the reason, a good chunk of the fanbase left when Sonic Adventure changed everything. It's why you still see comments every now and then asking why Robotnik is being called Eggman, because they only played the classic Sonic games. And when we were kids, his name was Robotnik, damn it.
I am Dr. Robotnik, the most cunning scientific genius in the world!
Yeah, right, Dr. Eggman.
Anywho, I'm kinda rambling here. What I basically want to say is that classic Sonic is gone. Now I'm going to be playing the 3D games. If you're a fan who only liked the good old days of Sonic, then I guess you can unsubscribe to me now and move on, I suppose. Not that I won't be playing non-Sonic games anymore. I still plan on doing the X-Files game next after this video. But folks, there was a reason I decided to tackle the entire Sonic series. Other than the fact that I have no life. See, the modern games get a bad rep for being shallow experiences with clunky gameplay. And hey, I'll agree, not every game can be perfect, and the series certainly has its low points. Sonic 06, I'm looking right at you! But I love the series for a reason and still buy the new 3D games. The colorful cast of characters still hold my interest. The music is still top-notch, and some pieces are downright amazing. But most importantly, the games are still fun to play. Why Sonic Unleashed was considered okay, and Sonic Colors was amazing, the best Sonic game in ages, I'm still trying to understand. Nor can I understand the bile hatred Sonic Heroes gets. This series is still fun to play. If you followed my playthroughs to this point, I hope you'll stick around, because we're really going into the thick of it. The good old days will always have a fondness in our hearts. As I said before, my favorite video game is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's a game I could play over and over and over again and never get bored with. I still remember being an 8-year-old, plowing through the walls in Green Hill Zone. I still remember my first time climbing a wall with Knuckles. I remember my extreme frustration with the final level of Sonic Spinball. Seriously, fuck the showdown. These games were our childhoods, and if you're a Sonic fan, you have to love these games. But the classic series was far from perfection as well. Games like Sonic Blast and Sonic Labyrinth don't have the best reputation. Hell, people are still divided on whether Sonic CD was a good game. People say it's too easy and too uninteresting. I personally like it, but I know plenty of people who don't. Lest we forget my playthrough of Knuckles Chaotix, which became more tedious as the game went on. So don't worry, this is the second last Chaotix video. I don't know if you're getting tired of this game, but I know I am. In the span of 6 years, the classic series spawned tons of games. I mean, tons! Hell, you saw me play them all, most of them. Sega has always been pimping Sonic out like the cash cow he is. I only bring this up because I want to remind people that anything you accuse the modern games of sucking for, I can apply to the classic games too. Well, most of the time. So goodbye, classic Sonic. Your games made our childhood, and now it's time to move on. But before we go, let's reflect on the good old days. So I hope everyone who's been following me sticks around for the ride, because we're heading to the new age of Sonic. And I'm telling you, it's not as bad as the critics would have you believe. Next up, let's play Sonic Adventure.